Good morning, crafty friends. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Stamp and Create with Beth. I'm Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So today is Saturday, August 10th, 2024, and we are going to do something a little fun today. I'm going to call it the Stamp Set Mashup. And I'm just pulling up my page here. So if you come in, say good morning. If you're new to hanging out with us, let us know where you're watching from. Okay. Okay. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Joan. I might have to adjust my camera a little bit. I'm trying to get my whole workspace in here, and it's really hard to tell from my camera sometimes. Okay. I think that's going to be good. So, you're new from Washington State. I don't know, Joan. I think you've been hanging out with us for a little while. So I got this new online exclusive. It's a fall set, the Scenic Pumpkin Patch, and I like to test all my images out and stamp them and see how they layer and what they look like. And I just really like this set. It's a scene builder set. So there's lots of options. Today, we are only going to use the pumpkins and the trees and this little ground piece. But I really, really like this set. So this is an online exclusive. It's not in the new mini. This is in my online store right now. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Jenny. And the other one, this is from our annual catalog, and it's way in the back, and it might be something that you kind of miss. And it's also a kind of like a scene builder set. It comes with some dolphins and a boat, and it's called Under the Moon. So we have two moon options here, and I really like this set. And of course, after I stamped them, I was just trying to see how I can build a scene with this set. So those are my two stamp sets. And I just want to show you, this was some of my testing that I did because I wanted to see how I wanted to stamp this. And I ended up masking, which isn't simple stamping. I was trying to keep it more simple stamping today. But because I'm making a night scene, I really needed to mask. So I just used our masking paper. I'll show you. I have lots of bits in here, and I save all of these bits because those came in handy when I had to make a mask for these little pumpkins. So you can buy the Stampin' Up! Masking paper. It has 12 sheets in here, and I'm kind of conservative with mine. So I will show you some of those, but I just kind of tested out what colors did I want to use and how I might layer these. So this was just kind of my rough idea, and then I ended up with this. So here's our card, and good morning, Maggie. I paired it with one of my other favorite stamps, the Sketched Plaid, the background stamp. So I colored it in with some blends. And today I'm pretty much just going to go through and show you how I made this card. There's not really a lot of choosing. We might maybe change up the background a little bit and see if you guys want to do the colors differently. I left a lot of white. But you don't have to. You could color it all in. So I created this night, kind of a night scene, but my inspiration, I happened to put these two sets in my cart. Okay, I didn't really intend to use them together. And then when I saw these in my cart, the Charlie Brown fall movie, The Great Pumpkin, came to mind. So if you're a Peanuts fan, oops, you know what I'm talking about. And that was kind of my inspiration for this little pumpkin patch scene with this huge moon. And I might have got the name wrong, but we're a Peanuts fan, so we have all the movies. And then I'm going to show you how I stamped this. And for the inside, I had chopped off a piece of my plaid background, and I just used it on the inside. So let's go through this really quickly, shall we? So who has these kind of on their radar? And let me show you something really quick, because a lot of times we get through our catalog, and this is the annual catalog. And when you get to these technique sections, maybe the products get a little lost. And so there's still a lot of stamp sets mixed in back here. So I know our old catalog had, once you got to accessories, you were done with your stamp sets. But the sketch plaid, and this is a little tip, I highlight things I own. So as I buy them, I highlight what I already have. Now I have to use my highlighter and highlight this one, but this one's clear back here in the very back. And let me see what this section is. That says Encore products, but this is stamping techniques. So I guess I do have a tab, but it's back here in this technique section. And this says crafting techniques. So this is stamping techniques. And then it gives you some ideas of how you might use that. And I just think it's going to be a great thing if you like to make, you know, some scenes with a big moon. I really like it. Joan, you have both on your list. Well, like I said, this one was a big maybe for me. I just wasn't really sure how I wanted to use it, but now I'm really glad that I stuck it in my cart. So what we're going to do is I have a Night of Navy base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, and I have it already scored at 4 1/4. Now this Hello Pumpkin, I will tell you, I don't have a whole lot of fall sets, and as you notice, these two sets don't have any greetings at all. So I pulled out a paper pumpkin set. After all, I've invested in these, so I'm going to use them. So I pulled out just a few, and this Hello Pumpkin is actually from 2020, September of 2020. But this one also has a Hey There Pumpkin, and I really like the font. It's just a tiny saying, though. You're a Blessing was in this set. This is from 21. And then I have a really old October set. Before October switched over to a Christmas or holiday set, it was typically a fall set. So this one had a hello, and it's kind of big. So it also had a thank you. So if you wanted to make one of those cards, you could definitely, if you had this set would work too. It has a neat texture background too. So that's what I grabbed out. Okay, you guys ready? Aw, I'm sorry, Vicki. Good morning. I have no idea why I'm not found. When you come right into my page, if you refresh, my video should be the first thing right after the featured. So if my video is not there, the chances are you're looking at a stored page that's like in your browser, your browser stores the cookies and just reloads a page that you visited. So hopefully if you come to my page and there's no video playing, just try refreshing and see if it will come up for you, because I go right to it. If it's not showing when I'm on the page, I just refresh and then it's there. So hopefully that helps. So we're going to take these 2 stamp sets. I'm super excited. A lot of my stamps are already out there everywhere. And we're going to make this card. So first, I'm going to take a basic white and I'm just going to cut it in half. So this is an 8.5 by 11 and I'm cutting the 11-inch side at 5.5. And we're going to do all of our stamping right here on this. So I'm going to show you. I actually stamped this and then trimmed it down. And then I used a big half sheet here for my plaid, and then I trimmed it down. Yay, Vicky, I'm glad it's working. So we're going to use this to stamp on, and I trimmed this down once I saw how I wanted it to go on my card. And this is a typical layout for me. So this is a layer that is 5 1/4 by 4 for my plaid, and then I trimmed my other one down. I think it's 2.5 by 4.5. Okay, so sometimes I do by 5, but I wanted a little less, so I just chopped it off. And then this is just a little 1/4 inch strip that I happen to have, and it fit perfectly, and I just stamped on it. Luckily, our paper pumpkins are photopolymer, so I was able to see where I was stamping that. So here's our color scheme. I did a little sponging, so I'm going to try not to get too messy today. I used Night of Navy, Misty Moonlight, Cajun Craze, Pumpkin Pie, and Smoky Slate. I originally was going to do more of a yellow moon, but then I decided I liked the gray better. And I originally tried basic beige because I didn't want it to be too yellow, but I wanted it to be, you know, not just white, not just a white circle. Thank you. You guys know blues and oranges are complementary colors. And so they work really well together when you are making a card. They're a great combo, and I really love them together. I'm a huge fan of both of those colors, so I love it that they work well together. So because I'm using my glass mat, I do not need my stamping mat. However, if you do not have a glass mat or a good surface for your photopolymers, you do need your Stampin' Pierce mat for these stamps, okay? They're all photopolymer, which I love, so we're going to have an easy time of kind of lining everything up. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. So I used this big, I guess it could be water or ground or, oops, whatever you want it to be. There's my mask that I made for my moon. And you can see everything that I used Night of Navy with has this pink tint. That just happens. It's, I guess, the nature of the photopolymer material. It just stains easy. So when I used it with gray and I stamped all of these, it didn't stain because gray doesn't do that. But the Night of Navy has kind of a red in it, and it stains the stamp. So don't worry if that happens. Okay, I decided instead of using browns, I would use Night of Navy. But before I stamp this, I got a little ahead of myself here. I got to stamp my pumpkins. So when I stamped this card, I stamped all, and you can kind of see, I didn't mask all of them perfectly. That's okay. I stamped all my pumpkins first. Then I laid down the ground because I want my pumpkins to really be seen and I don't want this blue to go over my pumpkin. So first we're going to stamp our pumpkins. And I want to show you, there's a bottom and it has a little bit darker shading, and then there's the top. These are the pumpkin tops. So you want to make sure you stamp your pumpkins the correct way on your paper. And I've got a little fun technique for you that you get to learn today. I'm going to move some things out of my way just so I can have my inks open. So I have pumpkin pie. And I have Cajun Craze, okay? And then I have one of these little sponge daubers that goes on your finger for my Cajun Craze. And I'm just kind of visually dividing this paper. Actually, I'll just do it this way because this is closer. I'm just kind of dividing this and making my scene. Remember, we're going to cut this down. So I'm going to grab my pumpkin here, and I've inked it up with the pumpkin pie. Now I'm going to put my dauber on. Ooh, whoops. Let me wipe that off in a minute. And I've loaded this up with Cajun Craze. And I'm just going to dab that onto the bottom of my pumpkin. So can you guys see that? So we get that two-tone effect. And then we're going to stamp it. Oops. Yeah, don't get it in your ink. I have too many things on my table. Now I'm going to clean it and do it again. Just because I don't want that Cajun Craze to get into my pumpkin pie stamp. If you do, it's not the end of the world. It'll be okay. But I'm going to try not to have it. I just realized I forgot to wet my chamois, so I have only wipes here, which is okay. I'm going to ink this up again. And I probably don't even need to re-ink that. I put kind of a lot on it. And then I'm going to do that again. And if you want it a little darker, grab a little bit more, like that. So how many of you have tried this technique where you kind of ink your stamp and then you add some more? And I'm just kind of guessing here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's probably not going to end up exactly the same as my other one, and that's okay. So I'm done with this stamp. And I have a little pumpkin. So I'm going to put these away. So I'm going to need all my blocks here. See, I've created my masks and I put them in my stamp case. So we will stamp these last. So don't worry about those pumpkin, the tops, the stems, just yet. But we have this little tiny pumpkin, and I put him in between my sets of pumpkins here, just to kind of fill in, because I didn't want it to look all uniform. And since we do have a small pumpkin, I'm using it. Again, just make sure that you have it the correct way, the right direction. And we're going to do that to all the pumpkins like this. Oops, sorry. I keep hitting my camera. I was trying to catch up on the comments here. Hello, Xana. Thank you, Joan. I love this. This is a great way. So the sponge daubers come 5 in a set, and I have packs and packs of where I've used different colors, and I really like them to do techniques like this. So let me put that there. So I have these pumpkins ready to go. Now I need to mask them. Okay. So I'm just reusing those masks that I made earlier. I want to make sure I get this one over far enough. So when you make a mask, you stamp it on the masking paper. And just make sure you stamp it on the correct side because there's a side that peels off. So the masking paper has two sides. Let me just pull out a full sheet so it makes sense. So you stamp on this side, and then on the other side, or wait, I take that back. This side has the thing down the middle with the release paper, and it's very slick. You stamp on this side that's smoother, and then you cut and pull the release paper off. Oops. I'm going to end up with everything in my ink today. Probably because I do not want to get ink on my fingers, but look, I already have. That's okay. It'll wash. Okay, so I want to mask my pumpkin. So I've already created these because when I created my card. And I'm just, you cut it very close to your stamped image, maybe even into your stamped image a little bit. Because you don't want there to be a line. So the idea of the masking paper is that the other color goes right up to your image. And this is going to help our pumpkins stay in the front. So it doesn't look like the ground's going through them. And it's okay if they get a little bit of blue on them because it's dark. It's a night scene. Yes, Joan. Stampin' Up! Has masking paper. I, too, often used Post-it notes. The masking paper is actually a little bit thinner than the Post-it note. So you definitely want to try it. It does work a little bit better, and it's sticky, so the whole thing's sticky. Where a Post-it note, you're always like, oh, I didn't get it on the sticky. So I do like this for that reason. Thank you, Xana. Ooh, Linda, you did it on a leaf? Really cool. I would love to see it. Good morning, Deb. I'm sorry. Seems like everyone's having a little bit of issues. So when I created this layer, I originally stamped this, okay? And then I moved on and stamped my other pumpkins, but I left my masks on. That's why you see this one has a little bit of orange because I layered those pumpkins so that they looked like they were near each other, but in your visual line. So I'm just going to stamp this just like this, and it's okay. It doesn't matter. I put this one up a little bit higher, but because my other pumpkins aren't there, I'll probably just pull it down like this, so then I can stamp my other pumpkins, because I don't want the blue to go through those either. And actually, let's just stamp those pumpkins now. Looks like I have them out. So that's this. These are the medium pumpkins. There's even smaller pumpkins. So you could really layer this up and make it look like a huge field of pumpkins. But I'm going to use these. Man, I have ink literally all over me. Okay, so just trying to make sure I stamp them the correct way. So it's like this. It's opposite of the pumpkins on the sheet. So these go like this. I'm going to go ahead and stamp these and mask. I'm going to do all of the blue ground at one time. So I inked it in the pumpkin pie. I'm grabbing that Cajun Craze with my sponge dauber and putting it on. And I even put it on this back pumpkin. So you can make it as heavy or dark as you want. And I'm just going to stamp these. I overlap these a little bit more than the original, but that's okay. It won't hurt anything. So let me clean that off. Now, I'm going to grab out my mask for those. And I'm just going to mask this as well. Oops. And it kind of curls up on you after you've used it. So there we go. Now we're ready to do our background. And it's okay. You can layer it however you like. You could do even another layer of pumpkins if you wanted more. So have fun with it. I actually thought about doing, normally I do 2 inches by 5 on this layout. And I thought about just stacking a bunch of pumpkins. Like they're, you know, there's tons. But I decided I really just liked a couple of rows. So now we are going to stamp our background. And I did that with Night of Navy. And I have some scrap paper here because I actually stamped off. So you can use the Misty Moonlight if you want. But I like the darkness of the Night of Navy. But I didn't want it to be too crazy dark. So when you ink up this ground, now remember this ground is from, it's actually the water from the Under the Moon. But when you stamp this, it's very dark. So you can go with this dark or you can stamp off and then stamp onto your scene here. So it's just, it's still dark. And I did it a little higher. I'm just going to grab a little bit of this and ink it and stamp it again. So I just inked the end. I stamped off and stamped it again just to add a little bit more dark down here. Ooh, nice. I don't have any pumpkin patches near me that I know of. But I love pumpkins. I really like, that's might be my favorite thing about fall. So this set was definitely going to be on my list. Okay, so I used this. Again, this was from Under the Moon. I'm going to put that back. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stamp a little bit more ground, and then we're going to do the moon, and then I'm going to show you how I layered the other bits and how a cloud is going to become my bushes or trees in the background. So this is from, oops, the Scenic Pumpkin Patch, and I'm just going to grab that, and I'm going to stamp off and stamp with this one. So I'm just stamping off and then stamping over top. And I'm not worried about this because we're trimming it. So let me ink this again. Stamp off. I'm going to layer that a little bit more. So I'm just pushing and filling in. And I stamp off on my grid, on my scrap grid paper here, and get a lot of that ink off. The blues, the reds, a lot of the darker colors leave a lot of ink on your stamps. And you just fill up your Stampin' Scrub if you don't stamp off a little bit and clean them. So there's that piece. Now we need to do, we're going to stamp our moon. So I'm going to get rid of the Night of Navy for just a second. And I'm doing that in Smoky Slate. Now this one I stamped off. So it's really light. Me too, Xana. I love all the pumpkins. I like that there's so many sizes. So you could make really cute tags if you do things for Thanksgiving. With the small pumpkins, you can really layer them up. It's really nice. I like it. I like this set a lot. So when I did this, I stamped it, stamped off and then stamped it. Do you guys want to try it stamped full force? So let me show you what it looks like. So I'm going to ink this up in Smoky Slate. And that's what our moon looks like. So I used a stamped off version, and it's very light, but I like this. I like the subtle details. But sometimes when you look up the moon, it does have really dark spots. And you could even get a sponge dauber and kind of dab that on. So there's a variation of the stamped off and then, you know, adding more ink. Oh, really? Yeah, Vicky. I don't know. I don't know that I ever went there. But it does seem like more and more things are closing, and it's hard to go to all those places where they used to have, you know, all the fun fall things and pick your own pumpkin. So what do you think? You guys want to vote? We got to stamp our moon. It's going to go right here. So we need, do you want it stamped off? That's kind of the stamped off. You can just barely see it. And it also depends on how much you stamp off, how hard you push, and it's not going to make a huge difference. It just has a really subtle look. And then we're going to stamp a few things that go over top of our moon. And then we will mask our moon. And we're actually going to do a little sponging. That's why I said I'm trying to keep my fingers clean, but we will make it darker. All right. Let's try it. Thank you for all that love. I appreciate those. So I've just inked it up. And I'm just going to go in right here and press it down. Ooh, that's really moody, isn't it? But you know, it's fun because in the fall, they have all these, every month, the full moon has all these fun names, you know, like the strawberry moon, the harvest moon. So you could have a lot of fun with different colors. And even still sponge all the blues in the background. That would be really cool. The harvest moon, I think, is more of an orange. And so you could have, you could use this technique and have an orange moon. So you could have a lot of fun with this. Now I'm going to stamp some more things in our Night of Navy. Look, I'm getting ink all over me. Trying not to, but I think it's impossible. I am going to wipe my hands really quick. Unfortunately, I have to go somewhere right after this video, and I really shouldn't look like a Smurf. But if I do, they all know I'm a crafter, and it'll be okay. And my masks still have, you know, some ink on them, so that's really where this stuff came from on my hands. Okay, so we're here. Now I want to show you, this is a cloud, but guess what? I'm not going to use it as a cloud. I'm going to use it as a bush in my background, or trees that are way back along this line here. And I am going to stamp off. So I'm inking it, stamping off, and then I'm just going to stamp right on that. And I'm leaving my masks on. Okay, I have not unmasked my pumpkins. So I'm going to put this right here. Okay, so we have some some background in here. And don't worry about if it ends up getting cut off. It's okay. I just like to create the scene and then chop it down. So if you like it the other way, then go ahead and cut your paper to the size you want and create that way. I just found it easier to use the whole sheet. So we are going to stamp this cloud. I love these. I love all this detail. It has a lot of detail on these stamps. Hi, Beth. Or hi, Beth. That would be me. Hi, Christy. Thanks for joining us. So on these, I also inked and stamped off. If you want them darker, feel free to leave it dark. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm only going to do one. I have another little stamp here. Oh, thank you, Deb. I have had I just love these two sets, and I think they go really well. I also think you could use this under the moon for a lot of things. I mean, I know it kind of came like, it's an ocean set, right? It has a boat, it has dolphins, but you can use these however you want. Mix and match them. Let's see. So, oh, in this set, back to our Scenic pumpkin, we have this little cloud that I'm going to use. And I love it because these are both have like a watercolor look. So they're going to work really well together. I'm just sticking a little cloud there. I'm not going to do as many clouds on this one. We're just going to leave it like that. And it's okay. It turned out a little different, right? I never make my cards exactly the same. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't happen. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to remove my masks on this. I'm trying to think of how I did, which way. Actually, I think I stamped them last. Oh, I forgot my trees. In this one, there's these little trees. So I'm going to do some of these. I'm looking at my card, trying to figure out what I did. So I'm going to stamp these back here. Okay. So we have some, you know, our little fall spooky trees. They've lost their leaves. Now this stamp does have it does have this little piece that you could layer. So you don't have to make bare trees, but I liked the effect. Now, I'm trying to remember if I masked this and did my sponging and then did my, I'm thinking I did. So I'm going to do my stems last. So let me grab my mask out of here. So here's my moon. Okay. Probably going to get more blue from it. And I'm just going to put this over top. I'm not too worried about if it's perfect here, because even if it has a halo, it'll be okay. Okay, so guess what? I don't like sponging with Night of Navy. Mine always comes out purpley looking. So that's where the Misty Moonlight color comes in. I'm going to use this to sponge all the blue. And I've left everything masked. Now, I know I didn't have these masked. Actually, I'm going to take this off for a second. Let me back up. I'm trying to remember my process here. Let me take this off for a second. I believe I took these off. I want to say I stamped my stems, but we can do the stems last, and that'll be fine. So let me take these off, and I'm trying not to rip them because I want to be able to use them over and over. And I'm just tucking them inside my stamp case. So you can see where my masks might have been off a little bit. It's showing, oops, that one ripped. That's okay. That's all right. You could easily use a blend to get rid of those white spots, or I'm going to show you how we blended. Now look, on these I used a little more Cajun Craze, and so it helps pop this pumpkin out. But we're going to do a little sponging. Now I'm going to do the moon. Pretty sure this is the way I did it. Okay, get those out of the way. Now I'm just going to use a blending brush and my Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to pick up some ink off my pad. So I'm just going over my pad. I'm in it, and then I'm lifting. And then you can test it over here. And I'm just going to start going around the mask. And I did go over my pumpkins a little bit. So don't worry about if you hit your pumpkin. It's okay. And I'm just trying to get that as dark as I can. Like I said, every time I've used Night of Navy, it comes out a little purpley for me. I don't know, maybe it's me or my ink pad. So I am going over the bottom of those pumpkins with the blue. So it's okay when I'm sponging because not as much ink is going on versus when I'm stamping over it. And like I said, I can always come back with a marker and kind of fill in anywhere that I want a little darker. So it's kind of muting that orange a little bit. And I'm just picking up more ink. And making it darker. So you could try Night of Navy. Maybe you would like that. I just wanted more of a blue. You could also maybe add in a gray and then kind of layer your colors. So whatever you like to do. So there's our sponging. Yes, Night of Navy is very dark, but I've noticed that, and maybe my ink pad's not inked well, I don't know, but I've noticed when I try to sponge it on, here lately it looks more purple than it does blue. And maybe that has to do with the base in it. It has a little bit of red. You know, that's the science of mixing colors and making colors. So I'm not, I don't know the exact reason, but there you have it. Yes. So, but yes, true, Vicki. When you use different colors, it helps kind of give a variation there, and it helps with the dimension of everything going on in your scene. So you don't have to have everything super dark. We know it's night, but we don't have to have it black. And you could also even use like a purple. You could make it like a sunset. You could have so much fun with this. So I just chose to use a limited amount of colors. So there we have it. So you've seen I've darkened my pumpkins a little bit. I did the same thing here. I didn't want this to go over top, okay, because then I would have a blue line through it. But when I sponged that Misty Moonlight on, I helped darken those areas of the pumpkin where it would be darker closer to the ground. So now I'm going to take this off and we're going to stamp our stems and then cut it down. And I still have to do our plaid. I need to get a move on, don't I? And I keep washing my hands, and then I have to come right back and touch this. So I guess I'll wait till I'm done. So look, there's our moon. Isn't that stunning? So think about all the colors you could use and all the variations you could get from this. I've just done a night scene. And again, my inspiration when I happened to see these two sets sitting in my cart. You know, they were listed and they were one after the other. And I thought, oh my gosh, the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, right? So that was my inspiration. I don't know. That's what popped into my head. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Joan. So, oh, see where I sponged that and it kind of has it looks like the moonlight kind of hitting it. That's okay. I sponged a little harder on that area. That's all right. Kind of looks neat. So now I'm going to stamp, move that out of the way for a second. I'm going to stamp my pumpkin tops here, my stems. And I have 3 stamps. So I have this one. It has 3 on it. And some of the smaller ones, they're hard to see. So I'm going to show you. I actually have to ink them up a little bit to be able to tell which way they go. So this goes on the big pumpkins. Okay. And be careful. Just barely tap. You don't want to rock this because you do not want to get ink in between these. So this is just going to stamp on here. Like, oh, see what I did there? Now watch. You do not want your pumpkin to look like that. So let me make the mistakes. Tap, tap, tap. Very easy. And if you've re-inked your Night of Navy anytime soon, it's probably juicy and you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Oh, thank you, Linda. You know, sometimes things just pop in my head. I don't know. Okay, so this one is kind of hard to see, but when you just tap, 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 ink it up, and I got too much ink on it there. You can kind of see which direction it goes. That goes on our little pumpkin down here. And I'm just guessing. I'm sure there's probably an exact way that you line that up, but I'm just guessing and plopping it on there. So, and then we have our tops for our other pumpkins. I'm just kind of looking to see which way they go. I think it's that way. Again, gently inking those up because I don't want any blobs. There we go. And I'm sorry, I'm shaking my camera. So there is that. And I put a few more clouds on this. I left this more open. So it's really up to you how you want it to look. We're going to trim this down though. So what do you think? Okay, I need this. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this and then we're going to do our plaid because I need to hurry up just a bit. So we just got a couple more things. I am cutting this at 4 1/4. So I'm just cutting this in half. So this was a half sheet. So it was 8.5 by 5.5. Now I'm cutting it at 4 1/4 and I'm going to trim this down. So I'm laying this off to the side. We're going to trim it, but I want to do my plaid piece really quick. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I have my plaid background stamp. It's already on my F block. I'm going to ink that up with the Night of Navy. I'm going to take this piece and just lay it down. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to use my grid paper and press it down. So you'll notice I inked it facing up and I'm stamping it facing up. I can't control this F block. It's big. So this is how I do it. I lay my paper on it and then I'm holding it in place and I'm rubbing. And then once I move that hand, I put this one down and I rub this side. I just want all of that ink to soak in and transfer to my cardstock, but I don't want this to move, so I don't let go of it. I always keep one hand on it and press with the other. I have not tried the bob tool on this way. So I'm just pressing it. Some of it's going to get covered up. If it ends up not being perfect, it's okay. But pressing it like that helps protect my hands because there's still going to be ink on this, especially around the edge. And it's Night of Navy, so it takes forever for it to come off your stamp, and you don't want it on your hands. Okay. Oops. So I'm going to leave that over there. Now we can color this. I'm going to flip this over so I stop picking up blue ink. And I'm just going to color it really quick before we trim everything. And then we're just ready to assemble our card. So, close my stamps up here. Lots of things open. I have dark Cajun Craze and dark pumpkin pie for my 2 oranges. And then I really didn't want a dark blue, so you could use light Night of Navy, but I've actually picked up light Boho Blue. You could also use dark Boho Blue. This is a great blue that goes, there's the dark and there's the light. Can't hardly tell a difference on the grid paper, but this was light. So I just picked a line and did pumpkin pie, and then I picked a line and did Cajun Craze, and then I did the squares in the Boho Blue. So I just wanted something a little lighter to lighten it. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Joan. Linda, I'm glad I could inspire you. I see Vicki blaming me for something. I'm sorry, Vicki. You know, these were on my radar. I just couldn't help it. I was very inspired when I saw them together. Actually, that Under the Moon was on my way down on my maybe list. Honestly. And then I don't know, I just kept seeing it and thinking about it, and it ended up in my cart. So thanks, Joan and Jenny. Okay, so I am just going to do it exactly the same, and then we'll assemble. So I started with the dark pumpkin pie, and I just, like I said, now the blue, this Night of Navy can pull with your Stampin' Blends. It might pull a little bit of a red tone. I just go really quick and I'm not worried about it. I'm not blending these. I'm literally just coloring with them. But because they are so smooth when they dry, I like them just a little better than the Stampin' Write. If you have Stampin' Write markers, they will work fine with this. Oops. That's all right. We're going to cover that part up. And the other reason why I use this is this marker, because it's an alcohol-based marker, will not necessarily smear that Night of Navy ink that we stamped our plaid with. Where if you use the Stampin' Write, they are the same types of ink. The Stampin' Write markers are the same inks that are in the classic ink pads. So they can react with each other and kind of combine. And again, I'm not making it perfect. Trying to stay inside the lines and do it quickly. Now, the light Cajun Craze Stampin' Blend is more of a brown tone. It's orange, but it definitely has more of a brown tone, where the dark to me looks more like our Cajun Craze stamp pad. So that's why I chose just the dark. Again, some of this we're going to cut off, so don't worry about if it's perfect. So there's, oh, I forgot to go this direction. You can tell I'm mentally in a hurry. Sorry. And again, you can color this any way you want. You could stamp a bunch of these and do a bunch of different orange and blue plaids and see which one you like the best and have fun just making scenes with your pumpkins. There's actually a barn in that Scenic pumpkin, so you could, and a little tiny fence for way in the background. There's a big fence for the foreground, so you could have a lot of fun making different scenes. Aw, thank you. I appreciate all of those hearts and love. Now I am using the brush tip on this because I really want to lay down the color quick, but you could take your time and use the bullet tip if you need more control. I'm making more of a messy plaid. I'm not too worried about if there's white spaces. Now, I'm going to give you guys a choice, so get your fingers ready. On this one, I used the light Boho Blue, but let's see. Do you want to do the dark? It's just a tad darker. So dark Boho Blue is number 1. Light can't talk. Light Boho Blue is number 2. Bye, Jenny. Thanks for hanging out. And then we are going to cut our pieces down to size and adhere our card together. So 1 is the dark Boho Blue and 2 is the light Boho Blue. And I just grabbed a piece of white out of my pre-cut stash for the inside of our card. I think everyone voted for light. You guys are like on a roll for unanimous decisions here lately. So we'll go with light. I'm just going to take the brush tip and I'm literally just filling in the square. And you can tell from my original card, I did it pretty messy. I tried to be careful where there was white, but it didn't always happen. So I'm just filling these in. Again, you could blend these and you know, get all fancy. I'm just throwing some color on there. Some of it's going to get covered up. So I guess if you really pre-planned it and you knew where your layer was falling, you could just not color those parts. But I have this thing. I feel like I got to finish the whole piece and then layer it. It's like designer series paper, right? I know that it's under there. Ooh, Vicky said she thinks we should leave the sentiment off of this one because it looks like something that could be framed. You guys know I love making decor pieces. I think it's fun having little works of art. I have some hanging around my room. So that could be fun. What do you guys think? Get some chatter going. Let me know what you think. You're right, Joan. We are great minds. Even if you thought differently than us and you didn't say, you're still a great mind because it is so fun creating. And of course, we all see things a little differently. Okay, so I'm going to trim these down. So this is going to get trimmed down to 4. So that's about 1/4 of an inch that we're trimming off. And I just kind of want to see where this is going. I think I'm going to go on this side. So I trimmed that piece off. You can save these pieces. So this is to 4 now, and I need this to be 5 1/4. And so I just, if you like one side versus the other, maybe you like it this direction so that there's a blue and a blue and it kind of looks like there's no white line. Either way, that's fine. I'm gonna, oops, chop this end off. This piece we're gonna use on the inside of our card. There we have it. So there's our bottom layer. Now this layer, because I blended from this side, I'm actually gonna go this direction and chop it off. Now I chopped and chopped until I got to the size I wanted here. And I think, let me double check my ruler here. I want to say this is 2 1/2. It is. So you can see our moon is our focal point at 2 1/2. You can make it wider. It's completely up to you. So I'm at 3 1/2 here. And I'm going to cut it. And then I'm just going to kind of wiggle my way down until I get my piece where I want it. So I'm going to turn it this way. And that cuts a little bit of the pumpkin off. So let's see. Let's cut a little bit off this way. And then let's see where 2 1/2 leads us. Ooh, it cuts part of my moon off. Don't know if I like that. What do you guys think? Let's see what 2. Oh, it still cut part of it off. Okay. Yes, some of these pumpkins are going to get cut. Again, you could leave it a little bit wider. It's completely up to you. Depends on how close you stamp everything. Now I'm going to trim this, and I'm just going to trim a little bit off of here. I want some of this white to stay. I just like how it fades out. And I might make this one 5. Let's see. Let's do the other one I did at 4 1/2. This one's 4 3/4. So I just eyeballed it and how I wanted it based on how I stamped. Now I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy base. And I'm going to put this on, and then we'll see about this one. Now, you could have stamped this on to Boho Blue and then colored it. I haven't tried that. But you can stamp this on a colored piece and not have any white. I wanted some white stripes in there, so it worked out for me to use the basic white. So here's this. This one's a little bit longer than the original. I think I'm going to move it over just a tad. So I moved this one really far over because I wanted to see all of these. But I have a little more color on this side. It helps kind of frame my piece. So there we have it. Now, if you're not going to do your greeting, remember this was a paper pumpkin greeting, so it's not available anymore. But if you have that paper pumpkin, you can certainly grab it out and use it. I'm going to take this little piece that I lopped off and I'm going to glue it right here on the bottom of the inside of my card. How do you like that recycling? Don't throw those pieces away. I'm just leaving a little bit of a white down there. So that's our inside. So what do you think? Do you like it without the greeting? I'm going to put this here while I glue my inside piece. So what do you think? No greeting? I do have a set coming. It's not here yet. It'll be here next week. It's part of the new mini catalog that has the word fall in it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know I'm a little bit off the screen. I just glued this on the inside, and I had a little extra glue where this slid around, so I'm using my adhesive eraser to pick up that sticky. So you could do a greeting that just said happy fall, or if you have fall birthdays, I love pumpkins. You could, my birthday card could have pumpkins on it. So what do you think? Let's vote real quick, and then our card is finished up. So Joan votes for a greeting. So everybody put yes, put Y if you want a greeting, or N, no, if you don't want a greeting. And we'll finish up this. Really, it is a simple stamped card. We did a little masking though, but I think even beginners can do that. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. Oh, thank you for that heart. Sorry, I know my arm keeps coming in. I have to touch my screen to see the comments. So Vicki, you decided to with the greeting? Like this? So even if it has a greeting, say you stamped it with Hello Fall, it could still be framed. It could still be a framed piece. So somewhere I have this little tiny, this was from making layers. And sometimes I throw these little ones away because I just don't have a lot of greetings that fit on this. Okay, so if you wanted to frame it, you could have made this wider. And I think if it was in the middle, maybe that's what you mean, Vicki. If it was in the middle, you could see that as kind of a framed piece. But I do like to offset mine just a tad. And this one's a little more than this one. That's okay. And we made it longer too. So we changed it up a little bit based on how we did our pumpkins. And you can see my moon here was a little higher, so these pumpkins didn't get this light line that I created on accident. Isn't it? Accident's fun. Okay, so let's stamp it. So that Hello Pumpkin I already have mounted. Again, that was from that Hello Pumpkin is from the September 2020 paper pumpkin, but I like this one too. I like this font. Hey There Pumpkin, and they also have, it also has You're a Blessing, so that could be fun. Let me see, let's pull this one out. So this set was September of 2021. The other one was 2020. So you could have, this is a very small, the Hey There is very small, but I like it that it's a pumpkin. It's a pumpkin saying. So we could do, I don't know that this one will fit though. I think the scripty font's a little too wide. Let's put it on this. And I stamped it in the Cajun Craze. Ooh, true. If you had some letter dies, you could put F-A-L-L down the side. Great idea, Vicki. I love that. I don't have any cut, but that would be awesome. I do have letter dies, some older ones. So this is just adhered down flat. And then I popped up my greeting. So I'm going to stamp both of these. You know, I like to try things. So I just got out a bigger piece. Hey There Pumpkin. And then this one, I know I wanted something kind of small because I wanted my pumpkins to show. I didn't want them to be covered up. Let me stand up here. And that was Cajun Craze that I used for my greeting. I thought it really helped balance the blue. So I'm just trimming this with my scissors. Nothing fancy. So we've got Hello Pumpkin, and you can put it down here so that it's not covering your all your stamping and things that you did. Now this is a half inch piece, and then I have a Hey There Pumpkin. So what do you think? Which one do you like? So you can see this one. I did overlap my pumpkins on that one, but you don't have to. You can pull it down here and not interrupt your scene. So we've got Hey There Pumpkin or Hello Pumpkin. Oops. What do you guys think? I was so excited to show you this mashup. How do you guys like my new term? I thought, and obviously lots of times we use lots of stamp sets together, but I wanted to just have a fun, say something fun for my live. So I called it a mashup. So we're going to have more mashups in the future because I think lots of our sets can go well together. And if you're collecting, using them together helps you kind of extend those sets. Anybody have a preference on the greeting? I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Tell me now, or I'm picking one. After all, this is a group effort card. That's what our Saturday mornings are. And you notice I didn't stamp my plaid exactly straight, so I'm just trying to line up this piece with my cardstock instead of my plaid lines. Thank you, Maggie. So just to have something a little different, I'm going to do the Hey There Pumpkin. And I'll leave that Hello Pumpkin for another card. I see myself making a lot of these. Maybe not all of them sponging, but Hello Pumpkin because it can be, well, I think this is a kind of away from the pumpkin. I think they both fit because I left extra space down here on this one where I didn't have that on this one. Oh, okay. So Joan votes Hey Pumpkin and Vicki votes Hello Pumpkin. Oh yeah, I thought about that, but then I decided against it. Vicki suggested fussy cutting around this. You could even cut this apart and stack them. You could cut it apart and make it a stacked greeting. You could do the same thing with the Hello Pumpkin. And the fonts are just different, right? So a lot of it's just down to what you like. Linda, I'm with you. I like both of them. I'm going to do this one just because this one does say Hello Pumpkin. So I like both of them, but I wanted to give you some ideas. So I'm going to choose this one. I think we had a tie. So I'll just make an executive decision here. And I'm going to pull it down here into the bottom right, away from my scene. So this one overlapped and this one didn't. I'm going to put that up there for my next card. And it might not be a nighttime scene. You don't have to do the moon. You could do this as a sunset. So yeah, there's so many possibilities. I hope you guys have fun with it. If you have this set, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. I know I have lots of ideas and I'm excited to keep trying more and more. So this was a stamped off Smoky Slate, and this was, we stamped directly on. So it's a little, the moon has a little more prominence in our scene. Aw, thank you, Vicki. I think you could make a big scene with these pumpkins. I was just, you know, keeping it small because I wanted the plaid background. So I hope you all enjoyed these cards. This one that I made and this one we made together. I really, really love all these stamp sets together. Again, the Scenic Pumpkin Patch. This is an online exclusive. It just came out in September. Oh my goodness. You guys, just ignore me. This came out in July, I should say, with our online exclusives. The other stuff, we do have stuff coming in September, but this is available now. So this is in the online exclusive. This is Under the Moon. It was from our annual catalog, and the sketched plaid is what I made my background with. You can find all these products at my online store at bethroy.stampinup.net. And I have a new class available. Let me tell you that really quick before we go so you can sign up. It is the Adventurous Sky class, and here are the cards. So you get 3 of each of these cards, 3 kits to make these cards. You do need the stamp set. That sign up is now until August 22nd. So if you want to grab that, please fill out the registration form on my page. Today is the last day to subscribe for the August Paper Pumpkin. Time for Cake. It comes with an extra stamp set that has numbers. And our next one for September is an Autumn Abundance. And the subscription period for that starts tomorrow on the 11th. It makes 9 cards, 3 of each. And it has some watercolor ephemera to go along with our cards. So I usually grab that one just because it's the theme is thankful, and there's usually lots of greetings that I like. So thank you all for hanging out with me. Yeah, Vicki, anytime. We do need a crafty play date. You are welcome, Linda. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thanks, Joan. I will see you all soon. Take care and happy stamping. Bye.